The Comedy Store would like you to know that the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are strictly those of the speakers or authors and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by the Comedy Store and its affiliates.
It's definitely top 10 best things I've ever.
Cronut.
So it's almost like baklava.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's
We're real flaky and
I know what it is.
yeah.
I've had it. I eat anything sweet. You know that. I'm a toddler.
Yeah, so there's so many places in Philly I want to do when I go home.
Oh, yeah.
Like Vince was saying, there's a place that just does a special donut on Fridays. I forget what donut place it is, but he said, oh, you got to get one of their, twisty doos on Fridays.
We had the best in my mother's neighborhood, and they closed, and then another, a new owner took over, and they were making donuts for a while, and we would get them every once in a while on Sundays if it was like a big event.
Yeah. It's a treat.
Very rare because they were kind of expensive.
But that's what kind of makes it better.
But it was right by my grandmom's house, so it smelled unbelievable. It was in St. Monica's Parish, and it's a row home. It's all row homes. Everybody's on top of each other. So across the street is Kasha Bakery. So you got that.
Is one of the best in this.
And then you got Petitos is what it was called. And
what a name!
That's a great
name. The smell is like.
And
what I really want to do? Like,
what's the one on 9th Street? You got to try. I can't think of the name of it, but it'll come to me.
Like I always wanted a beach house, and then like I've a buddy that bought like a ranch, and I'm like, wow, I never thought. And then I was like,
oh, just tell us when you're ready. I'm sorry. Are we on? Sean,
sorry.
Is this happening?
But
is that okay?
It's fine.
We can edit it if you want.
Can we have a safe
I don't know
word
what
or
we were talking about. Yeah, I don't remember what I was
Speaking of
talking
which,
about.
I
was
want to
like-
buy a food house.
If you
Food house. Like that's my vacation.
made
I'm
a
not even
gingerbread,
kidding.
Food house.
No, I just want to like have a house in Delco or Philly, or even if it's got to be an hour away because that's all I can afford.
right.
Oh
But
man,
like,
row homes.
a food
are
house you can
ridiculous.
visit.
Beach would be 9th Street. That's beach block.
That's
I
beautiful.
don't know if I could afford that, but it's
Dude,
also
those tiny row homes are going
$1
for like
million.
I was gonna say half, but yeah.
I've looked into it. And
Really?
I'm like, no, I can't afford that. God, it's nice to dream.
They gentrify. Even my mom bought her house for $7,500. She's still in it.
Probably worth.
It's worth.
close to $1 million.
I think it's almost 3.
At least.
She had it it's like 3 something.
That's
they
awesome.
Said. Yeah. She was like, "Wow." And I was like, "You want to sell it?" No.
Now I'm nervous that we're now that
What
now
is
that,
a twisty do?
I don't. But now I'm nervous that it's being recorded. I was so relaxed, and I was like, the donut
so
is the
chill.
vulnerable
Twisty do
one
sounds
now,
like a code.
We can edit all that.
I'll take one
we're
twisty do,
talking
and
about
then
donuts.
they're gonna put in this pacifier. What?
I want a twisty dude. Yeah, I don't
whatever
know
the hell
what
that
They all
is. I
have
want
weird
it.
names. There's places that
What was the one Ramos was nuts about at 7-Eleven? The maple bar.
really.
He was
I do like
he
a
was
maple
You have to get a
donut.
maple bar.
That's what I got at Randy's.
It's not a donut. It's a longer
Yeah.
You know what it is? They have them at
I
Ralph's
didn't know.
too.
I have a
It was
buddy. of
news
mine
to
that-
me till he kept raving about
You know,
it.
Ralph's has it's delicious. Those pumpkin.
You got me
chocolate chip
hooked on those,
cookies.
you little shit.
Do you ever freeze them?
No.
Like pumpkin spice chocolate
Yeah,
chip
the
cookies?
puffy chocolate chip cookies.
Dude, they're unbelievable.
Pumpkin spice is the way to a woman's heart. I'm 100%.
Has that worked for you? Have you dangled
The
pumpkin?
3 women that I have landed in my life were all into pumpkin spice
Okay, if you're in the
and
pumpkin
chai
spice,
lattes.
this is my fat guy tip. This sounds like a lie. This sounds like
Stop,
something I
fat
would
guy
say.
tip.
Like after a couple drinks, it sounds like a made up story.
Sure.
But there's cloistered nuns in the Hollywood Hills.
What did you just say?
I know what you're
that
talking
make
about.
The greatest
Yes.
pumpkin bread you've ever had.
What is
We
it called?
discussed this multiple
Monastery of
times.
the Angels. It's behind the 101 Cafe. I'm not kidding. I'm not lying to me. I told
They're
you it
real.
sounded like it's
But
like
people
the Indiana
can't
Jones
find
of
them.
food.
It's like Brigadoon. People it's like you have to be there at midnight and like throw salt over your
Right.
shoulder and they appear.
It's-
and they sell pumpkin bread, but they only have like a really small
A limited
amount.
amount.
Yeah.
And they also, like around the holidays,
Oh,
would
buy
be the
their
time they get
whole
them up.
monastery if
They
they
also
bake
make
pumpkin bread all
handmade
day.
chocolate, too.
Oh no.
Come on.
I'm
they're
not lying to make friends.
I didn't know they made chocolate too.
I'm not lying to make friends.
Sometimes
What
I
does
would do that
mean?
because my life's so boring. I'm like, I gotta give somebody a reason to be my friend.
What
know
if
a
a bunch of
nuns.
nuns, a bunch of
Hear
nuns.
me out. Hear
Ty
me
got
out.
into it. Ty got into it. So
So it's a little monastery that and these.
Yeah.
What?
It's over by birds and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's
between
like
101
above
Cafe
Franklin.
and yeah.
It's north of Franklin.
Guys, there is a video of it.
See?
Wow.
real
So it
people
is
have gone to
real.
Hollywood Monastery of the Angels pumpkin bread.
Thank you.
Oh,
Actually,
man.
somebody gave up the recipe, so I don't know if you have to go and do all that voodoo shit.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna make that. Right. I've tried that. You
Let
know,
the
where
nuns
you're like,
handle
you know
it,
what?
you
I
know?
know how to do it, but they have Jesus and love, and I have nothing.
Right.
So I'll do what they say.
Can you imagine telling them, "Oh, I ripped off you guys' pumpkin bread"? What they would do to you after that? You're so
follow you.
screwed at that point. You're just going to hell. There's nothing I'm sorry. But how many Hail Marys?
What do you mean he's gone? He's gone. And,
There was nothing we could do about it.
There's nothing we could do about it.
Nothing we could do about it. He's
Dude, how great!
Yeah, they
that
walk you into a
scene.
room, you're like,
Pesci's
"Oh,
hair's
fuck."
perfect walking into the room, like lost.
straightening himself.
Like I've had that feeling. That was me showcasing for Mitzi about 17 times. I'd walk into the OR like Pesci thinking he's gonna get made.
all
And she would
excited.
Me and Jason Lucas are outside on the phone, like, "Hey, it's gonna happen."
Did Simeone get passed? No. He did, what?
What do you mean it didn't happen?
One of
He got
us.
fired off the door? How bad was the set?
Did you really get fired off the door
Once.
your first showcase?
Yeah, not my first.
Oh, okay. Because that's what's missing here. I keep teasing about these comics, the door guy women, now
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, now you
But
get to keep your job.
forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Some of them have been here forever. I'm like, yo,
Yeah, you're
Mitzi
supposed to be
re-showcase you
fired by
fuckers
now.
every
Dude,
6
you know what was
months.
so
Yeah.
fat? I love Mike Tyson. He's like one of my all-time favorite human beings.
Okay.
And I recently heard him interviewed, and he was talking about how Customata showed him love through discipline and how he was literally afraid of Customata.
I
And
believe
as he
that.
was talking about Cuss, I was just thinking Mitzi.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Discipline.
Yeah, sure. We were afraid.
We were, dude. I mean, I
Absolutely.
remember like people like I'm not gonna say any names.
I will.
But there were people that were afraid to go on in front of Mitzi that were already
100%.
established stars.
I was afraid of getting fired by her, and I never worked here. I was terrified.
my
I was like, she's
favorite
going to
part.
fire me so
I literally
quickly.
was like, Mike Black worked the phones, right? I
Everyone
believed it.
swears I worked here. I never,
never worked.
That-
I got
that's-
other people jobs here because I knew they
I
needed them.
remember getting you a showcase here, and you got passed, and I didn't. You felt bad.
Yeah, I was like,
It was like like an '80s sitcom.
Yeah, I was like, don't-
we're both going to try out for the Glee Club, and then Mike has the
I was
voice
like,
of an
don't
angel.
tell Steve.
And then I'm like,
I can't sing at all.
he can't carry a tune.
Remember we got Ted Twyman hired here?
Oh,
And
boy.
his first,
He worked the phones.
and
Yes.
he was the record
I remember
fastest
that.
firing of all time because he answered the phone
Instant.
and put Mitzi on hold.
I remember once Mitzi
You
gave
had
me
to
the
tell
business.
me. You broke it to me that he got fired. You were like,
There's no more
you know
fear
your buddy.
here.
No.
yeah.
It doesn't exist here anymore. We got to bring it back. How do you think we could bring it back?
Fire people. A lottery. A firing lottery.
Well, no,
Oh,
you know
she
what
would
I think?
fire
It wasn't
everybody.
being fired. It was the fact that she was so well respected.
Yeah.
It wasn't that you
So it was
lost
like-
a job.
Yeah, it's like
at
I'm
a
going up
comedy
Right.
in
club.
front of the
Legend.
person.
This
Like
person
Letterman's been in front of her. Leno's been in front of her.
Reinvented
Yeah.
comedy.
And you, I mean, yeah, because
She
back then
reinvented comedy.
you were also only making $25 a shift for the most part.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a real, like now they make real money.
Well, and she was
they
like,
make tips. And
also,
shit.
she was still walking the earth.
right,
You know, and
right.
like people like Byron Allen would tell you stories. Like,
Everybody had
Yeah.
stories.
Like, oh, we cleaned out the attic and she started an all female show, which had never been done before.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't talk to her at all. I have no business talking
Dude,
to
and
this
when
woman.
I was her assistant, like
Yeah.
you would think like it was almost like she was like a myth almost, but real. Mm-hmm. And like
Yeah.
I remember once she was like, "I don't even need to see you on stage. I could just know if you got it or not."
Yeah.
And it was real.
yeah.
She could just look at you.
Simone and I were the perfect assistants for her because we are
Yeah.
the bleeding hearts
Yeah.
of comedy.
Right.
We feel bad for everybody.
Yeah, you'd play
Everybody.
like devil's advocate with her. Like, give
People were like, "You got
give
for
Lemmerman
me-
a chance.
Well, I used to get a lot of shit. They would say, "Oh, don't do anything in front of Eleanor. She'll tell Mitzi." I would never
Never.
tell Mitzi because it would ruin you.
Yeah.
If you went to her and gossiped or any of that shit, you were out. She hated you. You could last for like maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, this person's giving me information. But then she was like, oh, this person's an asshole. Like, you immediately get rid of them.
Yeah, common
There was
sense
no
would hit
way.
her.
Yeah.
Screw this.
Yeah.
She'd be like, okay, that person does massage my feet for every once in a while, but I got to get rid of them.
Yeah,
They're
there would
fucking
be a
weird.
lot of people that would be like,
Crazy.
Yeah, they were like guest stars on the sitcom. Like, who's in Mitzi's house this week?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was always a different comic, like thinking, I know how to get in her good
I got a
graces.
good idea.
Wait till she hears this tidbit.
Yeah.
There was a comic who showed up and I was like, you shouldn't be here. And it was like she was having a rough day and he came in the back door. I was like, how did you even get in here? And then he started telling her how he should be getting better spots. I'm like,
Smart.
no. And then she goes, okay, we'll just re-showcase you. And he re-showcased and she made him an unpaid regular. So
She bumped him down.
she did.
Demoted.
He was gone. He moved back. He went back home. And I was like, you know what? That's what you get,
I remember
fucker.
one of my first Mitzi's memories, like just being like, I don't even know if I was working the phones here yet. I don't even think I was an employee. And she would come in and it was like the energy in the room would change and everybody's, Mitzi's coming, right? And then she came
Background
in.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
Cue
get
the
her in
deer.
the
Everyone goes to
seat.
work. Yeah.
And then just like a Don, like I forget who was this it might have even been you. And she just whispered in somebody's ear and I hear this, fire him, he's too tall.
Oh.
And then she just went right back. And I was like, he's getting fired for being tall.
Yeah, we have the record managers
Was that Dave
too.
Taylor?
No. Yeah, Garrett
Let's be
Rev.
honest. Was
What
it Dave
is
Taylor?
that?
Yeah, he's way too tall.
We had two managers, and they were going through managers like water at that point. There was every day
I
there
like
was new
that
ones.
Philly water.
Sorry, I've been home a lot.
It's the best, isn't it?
It really
I
is
miss it
hitting
so
me.
much.
And so we got these two managers, and I'm just waiting tables, and I'm like, okay, good. There's bodies in the office because she would always push me to be a manager, and I'm like, no, I don't want to be a manager. You're gonna love it. Nope. So I was excited. There was two guys, and Mitzi didn't like the one guy's eyes, and the other one, I think his nickname was Lumpy or something like that. And she said he was from the Improv. He was fired within the hour. The other one was fired an hour.
He's gone. What do
Like
you mean
almost.
he's
Actually,
gone?
one night. I think he lasted almost one night.
Yeah.
Because the person who was
Once
supposed
word
to
got out
fire
that-
him
Yeah.
didn't do it until the next day. Because he was like, I can't. I already
Fired
fired
the
the
day
other
he
guy.
got here just for being from the
I already
Improv.
fired the other guy for being from the Improv. I can't fire this guy because his eyes are big. I can't. How am I going to say it? But now you couldn't do that. There'd be fucking lawsuits out the yin yang.
Yeah.
Like now they get into this.
Are
is
you eye
corporate.
shaming me?
Yes.
You can't do that.
My eyes got me here. Whoa, all right. It's
Do you
too much.
remember your first conversation with Mitzi?
Oh God, no. Interesting. I don't think so.
I do.
I do.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
I just talked about it on a podcast yesterday that won't come out till
I
March.
guess time out. I guess
yeah.
I do. It was my interview.
Yeah.
So okay, what was yours?
Well, the first time I talked to her was on the set of his movie. Marcus Molina brought her.
It's hysterical.
Yep.
Whose movie?
Paulie's, when he was shooting Paulie Shore's Dead.
Got it.
Oh,
Yeah,
got
she
it.
Came down. She was very nice.
He was one of the people who would whisper and get people fired. He was a problem for
And
me.
then I
He was a
remember the
problem.
first time she talked to me when she knew who I was. And I was so, by that point, like first time I met her, I'm like, I'd read about her and I knew of her legend.
Oh, wow.
But I wasn't working here yet. So it was a much more
Right.
enjoyable
Yeah,
conversation. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, this lady's great. And then the other time I was like, she was like, and called me up to her house to become the manager.
How scary was that drive up?
Bro, it was like a scene. She was sitting behind her desk. It was like Get Shorty. It was like she had the light in my eyes, like Travolta and Get Shorty, and I was like, didn't know where to look. And she was. I remember
And
she goes
everything's
like this.
black in the house too, except for one pink couch.
Yeah, and she goes, "My son speaks very highly of you," and I didn't say a word, and I was just like, she goes, "Paulie Shore, your friend, that's my son." I was like, yes.
Yes. Thank you.
I think she
I
kept me
know
around
that.
just for laughs. Like she knows she made me so nervous.
Yeah.
I think I was
she
just.
definitely dug that
yeah.
aspect
If
of people.
she had that, yeah.
And she would make, I was so starstruck the first time I met her. 'cause
Yeah.
It was at a showcase.
Yeah.
And
I love Starstruck. That's great.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah,
For sure.
Because I was like, I knew who she
Sure.
was since I was 7.
Yep.
And I was
Wow.
because I was like, my brothers were much older than me and would bring home comedy albums and stuff.
Oh, right.
So
right.
I was really lucky that they were
the
super
knowledge,
supportive.
yeah.
And like I was watching like people on Catch a Rising Star and Mixed Nuts and the Comedy Store and all this stuff. So I knew a lot about it before I got here. But the day of my paid regular showcase, my fucking car broke down. I had to take the bus. The bus, I special requested that the guy, I was like, can you please stop in front of the Comedy Store? He's like, are you sure? And I was like, and all the mentals watched me get off the bus that were there for potluck. And they were like, he's one of us now. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm really not.
Scotty Barron's got his guitar. You're like, hey, come
Crispy
on,
Chicken
man.
was like, yeah. And I'm like, no.
Go get him, man. Go get him.
Yeah,
Why are you in a wheelchair? You go, well, all right.
Mickey was like, you know the bus driver? I was like, I don't know him. Boone Chocolate was trying to sell me a bus pass and stuff. So it was the worst. It was like so demoralizing. And then Dave Taylor, he came back every about 15 minutes to go, we're running a little bit behind, so instead of 15 minutes, you're doing 10. And then it got whittled down to 2.5.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Time out. You were doing 15 minutes for your showcase?
For the paid regular showcase, you had to do like a full set.
I never heard of this.
It's what it was. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't get to do that anyway.
Did you ever do that?
I did.
It was
everything.
3, 6, and 10, if I remember correctly.
I got whittled down to 2.5, so
There
it
you
doesn't
go.
matter.
Okay.
Whatever it was, whatever I thought it was not.
Okay.
So it gets down to 2.5, and I'm like, crunch everything. I'm like trying to edit in my head what I'm going to
Yeah.
I don't remember what I said.
Yeah, there's no way.
During my showcase. I have no
Terrified.
idea what I
Yeah.
was saying. It may not have even been the jokes that I prepared. Who the hell knows? Might have just been tax information.
Right.
So I get off stage and I'm like drenched in sweat. Like luckily
How
my
did you
body.
feel you did, though? Like, did you?
They were laughing.
Okay.
And I saw her moving, but that doesn't necessarily mean laughing, you know? And Ari was running defense. He was like sitting next to her.
Who
like,
was hosting? Dave Taylor or
I believe
Ari?
Bobby, because Bobby got me
Bobby
the
Lee.
show.
Yeah,
Bobby used to host a lot back then.
And he's pretty good at setting it up for people to get past.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky that my adrenaline waited until I got off stage, and then it was just meatloaf. It was just like, blah, 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 you know.
Right.
And so I'm a wreck, and she does this, and I'm like, oh no.
Call over.
I'm all jacked up. I look terrible. And so I'm like, yes. You rang. Hello.
So nerve-wracking.
She goes, how did you come to us? And I go, by the bus. And she goes, no, idiot. Who recommended you? And I was like, Bobby, ma'am. And like, I almost didn't want to rat him out that he was the one who had recommended it. I was like, it's nobody's business who recommended
Right.
it. You know?
I'll never tell.
She was like, I guess you can work here. And I was like, oh, thank you. And so I just left. I was so nervous. That was our entire first exchange was me.
But was it Bobby Lee or Steve? Or you got him in front of Bobby Lee?
No,
to get
I
there?
think I got
I
him
think you
in the
recommended
first
me.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, you recommended me. Back then it was non-paid regular first.
Sure.
Yep.
And then it was like someone who was a paid regular kind of had to vouch for you.
Absolutely.
If I remember
Yes,
correctly.
I couldn't nominate him for a.
Right, but Bobby could.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how it went. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was 15 minutes. No, I
That's
don't know.
funny.
I don't know.
It's just
That,
funny.
that
yeah,
may
it's
have just been what Ari told me.
You have
to
to do
fuck with
15
me.
minutes. Yeah. Well, who
Like-
knows? But she did. She did bring people. It was 3 minutes, and she'd bring them back for 6.
Right,
Sometimes
yeah.
she would skip the 6 and make them do the.
That's
10.
what happened
So a
with
lot of
me,
times,
yeah.
it depends on how she felt about that person, or
Right.
what mood she was in to fucking listen to people. But
Yeah.
it did vary once in a while. I mean, Andrew Dice tells his story about it's 3 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first time, and he did 21.
Wow.
And when he got off, they were like, "You're never gonna work here." And Mitzi was like, "Oh, you're terrific." But the manager was literally telling him,
You will never
"You're out
work
of
it."
here,
Yeah.
fucker."
Yeah.
And Mitzi was like, "Oh,
loved
I
it.
love you." he's great, huh? And the manager's like, no, you didn't do anything right. Like,
Did he must
So-
have killed that first time too.
I mean, Andrew always kills in Andrew's mind. So, yeah, no.
But so like if
Great
someone
advice.
can
That makes
kill
him
at
great,
a 20
yeah.
minute set on their first time, that's
That's
yeah.
ballsy though. Like
Yeah,
I wouldn't
Huge.
do that.
I don't have that kind of confidence ever.
No.
That left me in third grade.
I'm barely doing a 20-minute set now.
right.
So it's like, yeah.
I do 3 minutes. I'm doing 3. I'm not doing
Right.
3:01. I might
Yeah.
do 2. You know, I'm a little under.
2:58.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing. Like, I remember when I first started to headline, I was like, I'm going to show them I'm a real headline. As much time as you want to give me, I'll just dazzle them. And now
Yeah.
I do clubs. I'm like, what's the earliest I can get off stage? Well, how much time do you need me to do?
When do I get my liquor? That's all I want to know.
So funny. You destroy. What are you talking about? You have so much. Your stories are great and long. Like you have good time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
material.
but I think less is more. I really do.
I think you're
I
right
hear
about
what you're
that,
saying, but-
you're really good, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
because it's like your
But, like-
stories just go, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, fuck, an hour went by.
Yeah, but now I'm nervous just thinking about my comedy. So let's talk about something else.
Let's talk about your
Let's
comedy
talk
more.
about Mitzi.
Let's have you showcase again. What if we all had a re-showcase?
That'd be fun.
Have you guys talked on here about how like she would fire people and then you would have to kind of rehire them under different names? and stuff?
Oh, I had to do that a lot. Yes. Most
One
of
of my
wait
favorite
staff.
things that I would see happen with the wait staff was
Why
that.
is Lauren wearing a hat? Well, Lauren isn't Lauren anymore.
Why don't you have a mustache and brown
Pirate patch.
Wait, that's normal. Wait. We changed her name to Tootie for like 3 weeks.
Tootie.
I don't
Did
know
you
why.
go burn through the facts of
Yeah.
life characters?
But I think that's where she got it from. She changed it on the schedule, and she would just wear a hat, and Mitzi would just look at her. She'd walk by, and then all of a sudden, she was like, "Is that?" I'm like, "Tootie."
Yeah, it's Tootie.
That's who it is.
But that's when Mitzi was getting. But then Lauren started getting her high, and then Mitzi liked her again. So it was like fine. And then there was another girl, Anna. Remember Anna with the
Yeah.
platinum blonde hair?
Yes, I
Oh
do.
man, she
I
had
don't
a like.
remember her.
Anna was beautiful.
You would if you saw her.
Aprevia used to go fucking nuts over her. Aprevia, like
I don't know if I want to see that. What did he do when he was
well, Don
into someone?
Well, because it was like they worked. Lauren and Anna worked Sundays for a long time. Because me and the other girl Jen, we started learning the open micers act. So we were like, forget it. Like when we know the homeless
Yeah.
guys act,
That
we got to
really
get the
is
fuck
an
out.
upsetting feeling. Like
So-
when Mickey calls you by name that
Right.
first time, and you're like, "Oh,
And
I don't know if I'm supposed to be here."
I'm thinking Mickey's homeless. He hands
Right.
me a black card. I go, what the fuck?
My favorite LA stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this guy's not homeless. I'm worried about him. I'm like, and he's
Really had a
ordering
black
Miller
card?
Lights. Yes.
Right.
Wow.
I was like,
Do you know
I
how
looked,
rich you
it
have to
said
be to
his
have one of
name
those?
on it. 100, yes.
It's great.
I was like, I kept showing people in the kitchen. I go, guys, this is the homeless guy in the
is Mickey.
potluck.
LA has so many interesting people and interesting stories that could just only happen here and stuff like that. I mean, that's fascinating.
Crazy. But Anna was hard to hide her hair. So
Right.
she wore
Yeah.
a wig. She wore a wig to keep weight.
Seriously?
Yeah, because she was trying to. Her husband was in law school. She was trying to be an actress. So it was like a million different things going on, and she couldn't lose this job.
So how did Aprevia flirt with her?
Oh, so Don Barrett. This is what I was going to say. So it was a Sundays when he does Aprevia does closing, right?
Right.
Forever. Mitzi used to make us give him bus fare to make sure he could get here.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had to give it to him. He wasn't allowed to accept gifts, but he could accept transportation from Mitzi. That was
Yep,
it. We
I
gave him
remember that.
exact amount. Remember, you had to give him the exact amount
Yep.
of the bus, and that was
Yeah.
it. And so Don Barris would be fucking with him, of
Yeah,
course.
sure.
And then Anna would come in and hello, Anna. Like his whole demeanor was, hello, Anna. And hi,
Singing her name a little
Robert.
bit.
And she'd sit down. I mean, she literally was perfect. She was,
Yeah.
yeah, she was like porcelain, like a
Right.
porcelain doll.
Yeah.
And she would just sit there and be like, Robert, is he bothering you? Yes. Like he was just, and then all of a sudden you see
Trying
this
to
thing
be as-
pop out of his
as
green pants.
Batten down all the crazy as much as he
He
can.
would get hard. We were like, "Oh my god, he's hard." Fuck. Like it was.
no.
I know, but he didn't.
Like when he knew she was working, did he wear like his good plastic bags and stuff? Like his formal formal dress plastic bags.
Dude, last night
Tonight is your night, bro. He's getting ready.
he's flicking the bags out, getting the wrinkles out of them.
I really hope he lives at the top of a mountain somewhere. Like, I hope he's the richest.
Well, I
man
know
in
he
LA.
doesn't, but his family
is
might
not
be
happening.
because they do support him. Whatever he lives, he can't accept gifts. He can't. You try to give him things, and he just doesn't take them.
Yeah.
I've driven him home. I've taken him. I've tried to give him stuff, clothes, whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing. He won't take it. He can't accept gifts. He said. I was like,
Does
okay.
he still come by?
Oh yeah, he was here last night.
He was here last night.
Looking
Oh, I
like the
left too
Grinch.
early.
Yeah.
Because he had a green plastic bag on his head
Oh,
on
boy.
top of the suit. And I was like, did he do that for Christmas? Like, but I
his
didn't get a
holiday
chance
suit.
to ask him because I do always talk to him.
Yeah.
Like he's not afraid of me and I would protect him because I didn't like
Sure.
Yeah.
a lot of the nonsense. But
Yeah.
Right.
he is very smart, you know,
Yeah.
but he does, obviously he has mental illness of some kind. I'm not sure what it is, but he does do weird shit. Like sometimes when him and I are talking, like just in the hallway, he'll back up and start like pushing his outline of his I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk away. Like I just walk away. He doesn't touch me or do anything.
That's
but
where
he's
he
like
loses me.
almost
It's just
touching
like-
himself, and I'm
Yeah.
like, so I just walk away. But
And who
I feel
knows
that
what he's seeing or what he thinks is
exactly.
happening
I'm
when
like,
he's
he
doing
might
that. You know,
think I'm making advances
Right.
toward him, so I'm gonna walk the fuck
I'm
away.
gonna let her down easy by rubbing my crotch in front of her.
I like you as a friend.
I don't know what that is.
He's telling one of his other crazy friends, he's like, she just won't leave me alone. Well, have you tried rubbing your crotch in front? I did.
Oh shit!
I don't know what else to do. I'm out of ideas.
That's his Mary Poppins bag of
Right,
ideas. I was like, oh my God, because he's so sweet. And I know it's obviously something, whatever. So I try to be
Sure.
like, let's just walk away for this gets real weird.
Yeah.
But I
Before
always
it gets
do.
real weird. Yeah.
I always do talk to him. I never felt like. But I've laughed. I've had great conversations with him.
I've
Still-
caught him in a few sort of
Yeah.
lucid moments
Yeah.
where he's fun to talk to.
Yeah.
But then like it'll veer off and you'll be like, oh no, well that's the end of that. It was good while it lasted.
But he's
you know?
not on the right meds.
Yeah.
But who knows what meds he's on? Who knows? Like they brought Gaylord Dingler back in to
Is he
do.
here? Oh, wait, time out.
That was so
Yeah,
good.
that's important news.
Is it true that Jim Painter's been doing comedy again?
It
Okay,
is.
here's the thing. It is. And I have watched and I was excited. I brought him up. I was hosting. He had been coming in. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was so fucking funny.
Jimmy,
Oh,
come
that's
back.
great.
And I was like, Jim, please do will you please come do the podcast? Because Danish and O'Neill have been trying to get him for a long
They've been
time.
singing his praises since before he left.
There's
you know?
zero footage of him.
Christian Harloff has a recording of that longest laugh ever in the OR where people laughed for like 90 seconds.
Because of him.
Yeah, because of Painter.
Dude,
Harloff's got a recording of that.
That's awesome.
fucking Painter was so funny. I remember Dice lost his mind over him, and he was like, took him on the road.
Yep.
He was just as funny off stage as on stage
So
too.
fucking funny.
And a lot of times, like unintentional, like he would say something batshit crazy, and I would start laughing, and he would go, "Oh," like
the best was like Ingram always jokes about how he would do a bit and hold the mic,
Yes.
like the fake mic, like just.
"What do you think of this bit?" And then he
How
would do
about?
that.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's
like,
oh,
why do you
man.
have to practice with the? But it was a thing. He would come up and be like, "Guess what?" I'm like, "No, that's." But I
Are you
asked
doing
him,
a bit, Painter?
I asked him to do the podcast, and he goes, "I don't know if I'm ready yet." And I go, "You don't need bits to do the podcast. Just all we do is talk, tell
It's
stories."
not the Tonight Show. You don't
Yeah.
have to have like a bunch of stories
I go,
prepped
it's
and ready.
nothing, you would kill it. And then I haven't seen him since. I'm like, no, did I do
He's
it?
like the Roy Hobbs.
I really don't know.
There
Yeah.
goes the best there ever was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I really don't know if he's been coming in because I was
I
only
hope he
here.
does.
Yeah.
I was only here a couple of those Mondays when he was coming in. So, but I was
hope he
excited to
keeps
see him.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so fucking funny, Jimmy.
And his personality is so
Even his new
unique
stuff,
and
though, is
bizarre.
funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Fucking ridiculous.
The
I was
new
like,
style is the way your hair's short, not long.
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Here's Bob's. Hey, Bob. I was like, what was that? The wallet showing them their kids. Want to see my kids? Yeah, you want to see this, Bob? It's me jerking off to your what?
To your kids.
Oh boy.
I know, but it was so
dark and so out there.
That's the beauty of it.
Seeing half the audience laughing, but then realizing that they were being judged by other audience members, and they'd stop laughing, and other people who were just mortified from the get-go and were like, I can't believe this is happening to me. It was so great.
The nervous laughter that he's always had, he does it now on stage a little bit.
Oh, good.
A little bit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was a little distracting at first, and I was like, oh no, that's Painter. That's real Painter.
Yeah.
Like that's him.
That's the authentic.
Stage.
That's what this place is trying to teach everyone.
Right.
And he's doing it now.
In my head, I was like, damn, that's what he does. And then at first I was like, fuck, that's a little distracting, but he was fucking killing me.
In a few years, if he keeps doing it, in a few years, people will be out on the streets imitating that.
Yeah.
Less than that if he did it. He doesn't realize how natural he is. I don't know why.
Hey, he's got to get on this podcast immediately.
I begged. I didn't beg, but I said, anytime. I go, I'm not going to hurt you. Like, we're not.
I'm not going to hurt you.
Because that's how I felt like some people leave here and they're fucking scorned.
Yeah.
And they blame the building, the place, the idea, whatever it is. Which isn't a real thing.
Oh, I thought you meant this podcast. I was like, what's happening in here
Definitely
when I'm not
podcast.
here?
But I'm saying like people that don't, I would never go to the Comedy Store.
I remember a very famous comedian once. I'm not going to say who. It was back when I was
But it
managing.
rhymes with.
No, it's got to be 20 years ago. And I was sad and depressed. It was I think it was an Easter Sunday, actually.
Okay.
And it was back in the days when there was like no audience and even the parking lot was empty. So when a car pulled in that you didn't recognize, I'm like, who's this guy? And I'm like waiting for them to like get it. Nobody gets out of the car or whatever. And I'm like, all right, I got to check this out. And I looked in the car and it was a very famous person crying.
Aw.
And I'm like, whoa, what's going on, man? And he looked at me and he was just like, I've spent the most difficult years of my life in this building. And I had to just come back and feel it.
Wow.
And I was like, well, welcome to the club. I'm going through those years right now. But, can I buy you a drink, Tex?
Come on in. There was multiple comics that like would come here because they partied here, they'd go get sober, and when they came back in, they would get like the shakes. And I'm like, you act like the building gave it to you. Like, you know what I mean? This element is everywhere. It just preys on whoever wants it. Guys, this episode is sponsored by HelloFresh. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Busy days and late nights call for more flexibility. That's why HelloFresh has plans that work with your schedule. You can change your preferences, delivery day, and address in just a few clicks. It's that easy. Guys, I was on the road for like a month, and because HelloFresh sent me stuff that I had in my freezer when I came home, I didn't go to the grocery store. I was starving, and when I opened my freezer, I was so excited because I had HelloFresh ingredients in my freezer. Took it out, let it thaw out, and I made the most amazing pork burritos. It was, I didn't even think I could do it. I was like, oh my God, there's all this, follow the recipe. I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. I'm not good with seasoning. I put too much salt. I have a swollen tongue. Anyway, but I did it. I did it perfect because it's so easy to just follow along and you're learning as you're going. It was excellent and I enjoyed it and I didn't have to go to the grocery store and that made me happy. Go to HelloFresh.com/ComedyStore18 and use code ComedyStore18 for 18 free meals plus free shipping. That again is HelloFresh.com/ComedyStore18 and use promo code ComedyStore18 for 18 free meals plus free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
They did a thing on The Office that is very applicable here where Jim on the show was talking about how they were like, we have a new employee and a lot of people are trying to break his spirit And I just think we should just let this place do what it does.
Break its
like,
spirit.
Yeah, I was like, just let this building, it knows what it's doing. It'll handle that. You don't have to prank people or haze them or anything like that. The building will do its job.
Well, the building doesn't like you.
Right, yeah.
Oh my
guys
God.
got
See,
Tommy
we're
on the
located on a
podcast.
burial ground. And,
Yeah.
it's an exhaust port from hell.
Tommy, Tommy would tell that to a lot of people. The building doesn't like you, which was my favorite thing because I was like, "Is that real?" Oh, I thought
I don't
Jeff
think the
was
building
trying to
is
get
quite
down
as
there.
racist as you are, Tommy.
Yeah.
The building isn't the one that has the problem with everybody.
It does do its thing though. The build,
It does.
I know it sounds
There is definitely
crazy.
a real palpable vibe
Yeah,
here, and it's like there's a reason this place
It
has been on
boxes
so many
people out.
shows. Yeah,
it does make people
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
tell you
I've
about
seen
the time
people that
Dave
are like,
Taylor
I
caught
can't
me
cross
crying
the
here?
boundary.
Hold on, time out. What? My pseudo husband did what?
He caught me crying here.
Don't,
It was
don't let
back
Dave
when I was
Taylor
working.
catch you crying.
It was when I was working here during the day and then also working here at night.
I know. I remember catching you too.
And and it's like I was just done. I was just done. I had enough. I was just done with everything. And I was in the back by the back bar before the bartender showed up, and I was just like, I hate everything. And I heard clip, 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 clip.
My
and I'm
heart
like,
would
oh,
break.
You
great.
already know.
Of all people to catch me, and
Grim
he was
Reaper is
so
coming to-
Sweet.
Yeah.
He was so
He's
sweet
got a
and
lantern.
kind, and I'm like, that's the Dave Taylor I know.
Oh yeah.
But
And
that's
the
also when you
weirdest-
know you're in real trouble when Dave Taylor's being kind to you.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh.
That means he's seeing
Yeah.
a side of you that
Right.
That
is
he
even
probably
making
related
him.
to, though.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny when I hear comedians and other podcasts. First off, there's all these stories about this building that I had no idea was happening while I was here.
Wait,
I'm
you
like,
were-
wait, what? That person was on drugs? Like, I
thought it was just fun.
I have no idea. Like, I'm so naive.
See, that's I'm the opposite
yeah.
of that.
I'm just like, oh, he's just always in a good mood. And they're like, Larry, the drug dealer? And I'm like, he did what? Like, I have no idea.
Larry the drug dealer dealt
No,
drugs?
I have no idea about.
They sold to River Phoenix? That's so weird. He got it here. But do you remember the night? I'll never forget this. I walk in the office. I'm waiting tables. Steve is reluctantly being the manager. And I walk in
Was
the
I
office.
listening to the Coast, Delilah? That's all I would listen to is what do they call that kind of music? It's not even soft rock. It's-
Right now we have a young man who called us.
Cutting music.
That's
Music
all-
to cut
I
to.
needed that to just keep me calm.
he
I'm
had
out of love. I'm so yeah. You need change.
He literally had his back to me. Like it was turned, and I walk in the office, and you didn't even turn around, and you were just listening to this. You were in it, and I was like, I don't know if he's hurting or feeling.
Ballerina girl.
To sweet melodies of Lionel Richie.
Barry Manilow everywhere. I was just like,
Just who shot who?
I literally was like, I don't know if I can ask him for change right now. I just like waited a second, and he turned. You go, I'll be with you in a second. I was like, okay.
Can you please just let Lionel Richie bring it home and then I will help you?
It was glorious because we were both so walked on here. It was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it pretty bad. I was a manager only once. That was the only time I ever stood up to Mitzi, and I said, nope, I'm not doing it. I remember I brought my laundry because I was doing laundry. She goes, you could do it at the store.
Oh yeah,
And
I
was
did
like,
do my laundry.
What? And I would never even think of that. And
Right.
I said, fine. And I showed up, and they were explaining. I go, you don't have to explain anything. I know where everything is. You know what I mean? They're like,
Yeah.
oh, but these are the keys. I go, because you remember Brandon Duncan? Is that right? Brandon Duncan.
Duncan Trussell.
No, Duncan Trussell was the talent coordinator.
Brandon
Brandon
Lee.
was the manager. That he didn't have a day off almost a year and a half.
Wow.
Not one day off. And he was going batshit
What did
crazy.
he look like?
Dark hair, kind of to here.
Yes.
Like, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Brandon Duncan was a nice kid. He was also like trying to be an actor. So I think Ari and Dave Taylor got him in with the commercial acting people that we were all
Yeah.
with. a great guy. Moved back to San Diego. It was like, he still gets the shakes from the store, but it was because he's a bleeding heart.
Yeah.
And they took advantage. So it was like, you have to give him a night off. So I did the manager. For him is who I did it for. And I was like, fine.
I'm not doing this for you.
I will do the
this
one
is for
night.
him.
And then Freddie Soto, I'll never forget, came with KFC, like a whole spread. And he was like, it's going to be fine. And because this is how, because
At the beginning of an
I'm
80s
such a
movie,
sucker.
it's putting outside.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great night. You got this.
You're going to be fine.
Take a sport.
This is our summer. This is going to be,
It's going to be one great summer.
He's like, it's going to be easy. It's going to be chill. You'll get more money. I go, not going to get more money. You only make money in this building as a waitress. There is no other money to be had in this building.
Right. Yeah.
Are you crazy? And so I was like losing it. And Freddie's starting to make me calm. I'm doing laundry. And then Mitzi comes in. How is it? I go, it's awful.
Yeah.
I hate it. And then she was like, okay.
I remember.
And she hired somebody.
I remember when I was her assistant, she fired me for opening up for Paulie, but I clearly remember
that
her
was the best one.
letting me get 2 weeks off to go open up for him. And Harris Pete covered for me. I remember when I came back that night from the road, I don't know how you do it.
I can see Harris having a problem with that.
It was the best.
Well, like, what did he was working for her as you?
Yeah, like he went, but not what I was doing. But I think he
was
like
gonna
went
say,
and got her
there's no
groceries
fucking
a
way,
couple of times or something.
Air One.
Yep.
And now it's the biggest thing, Air One.
Yep.
All these little TikTokers made it real famous, and they opened up another one. Nobody ever even knew what I was talking about when I would say Air
It
One.
was so expensive.
So expensive. And she'd make you buy every fucking nut there was.
Every nut, every sort of granola, everything was like super organic.
It gives me anxiety if I walk by. If I have to go to the post office, I get the shakes from that fucking Air One. I hated it.
I just remember going off her list, like,
Yeah.
So Air One, Gelson's for this, but not this. Air One for this. If they don't have this, then just circle back to Cantor's and get the.
Oh yeah, the tongue sandwich.
Yeah, no, but what were the?
She liked the tongue.
Not hamantash. What were the cookies?
Yeah.
The arugula,
the
poppy seed arugulas.
Wow.
So I bought her a whole bunch of. This was like a while ago when she. At this point, I'm doing comedy, and she wasn't doing great. And I went to the little house. They had sold the big house. I went to the little house.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the little house to see her. At this point, she wasn't talking.
Yeah.
And I brought her those cookies, and she fucking lit up, right? And then she was literally like
Shoving them.
So Holtzman came by, and he was like, "Oh, I love these."
Oh no.
Her nurse comes in. I don't know what nationality she was.
Okay.
But Brian was like, the Mexican lady doesn't even offer a drink. And I go, Brian, inappropriate. Like, he's like, she's going to come in and out. She's not going to give me can I get a juice or something? I'm choking over here. And Mitzi's just screaming, laughing because of Brian with poppy seed cookies in her throat.
Right, I know I've told this story before, but Holtzman, this is one of the many
The
reasons why I
Mexican lady.
love Brian Holtzman. It's one of my top 5 Comedy Store memories. This has to be early 2000s when he first started to get main room spots.
Ooh,
you were still
okay.
a waitress. I remember because you were in the room that night.
I didn't leave till 2005. So
Okay, it was pre that. And the main room was not that crowded. I was seating the main room.
naturally.
And I remember there was, and I know I've told this story before, but I'm saying it
Who
again.
cares?
Right.
I want to hear
So
it.
there was a guy in a wheelchair that was completely paralyzed. Okay. And he had his date with him. And I remember, like, honestly, it just like hit me. And I'm like, I hope this guy has fun tonight. I hope this guy can at least just laugh for a night. So throughout the night, like I keep on like looking over. I'm like, please, somebody make this guy laugh. He needs to laugh. Right. And nothing the whole night. And then I'm in my bleeding heart brain. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe he can't even physically laugh.
Boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm
didn't
like,
even think
oh
of
my
that.
goodness. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh Lord. And I'm praying.
And
for
I've
the
been
guy.
pushing this guy. Laugh,
Right. And honestly, I'm praying for the guy. And I'm like, I
Steve's
don't.
on his knees.
Yeah,
He's got pumpkin
so-
bread from the nuns.
Yeah. So So I think Holtzman's the last comic up. There's maybe 8 people in the room. And Holtzman comes out. It was back when he was doing that Charlie's Angels bit about how he wanted to snap all their necks. 'Cause they're not that tough.
Women can't fight. What do you
There's
think you can
probably
fight?
8 people in the room, maybe 10. And they are all too scared to leave. Because
Right, yeah.
Holtzman's like, he can see you,
Yeah.
bro. There's 8 people in the room.
Yeah.
And nobody's laughing. And then over the silence, I just hear this, and the guy literally had tears coming out of his eyes. And was just going,
That's so
and I was like, this is
funny.
one of my happiest moments
That's amazing.
ever.
So
I just remember
amazing.
his date was so happy for him that she was wiping the tear. Like, you know
I
what I mean?
just like-
and he loved it. And I'm like, that's the
Wow.
comedy store.
that they could bond in beating up women, and that's what,
Right.
that's what
I don't
got
know
him.
if that
That's
was
what,
the bit
I'm
he was
kidding. I'm
laughing at.
kidding.
Maybe he was beaten up by a woman.
It was all,
and that's why he
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
possibly.
It's possible.
But it is funny that I remember Holtzman would do that bit, like, you think you can come at me? You Charlie's Angel. And it was
That
like he
was a
would do
funny
the
bit.
fucking dumb,
Yeah,
like
the silly
things
martial
they would
arts.
do.
Any of you guys in the room? I remember I was the manager. We closed down for September 11th. That's how big of a deal
Oh,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
We were
Yeah.
closed for a couple days, but then Mitzi would not put Holtzman on the lineup. He might say something.
Yeah.
So then she
Get
let
the
him
place
out,
burned down,
and then
yeah.
the entire OR is packed, and Holtzman is like walking to the stage
So
and just
excited.
wrecked that room. Wrecked it. I remember that was one of my favorite sets. Were you guys in
Oklahoma
the room?
City bombings too.
when,
Did that one.
Were you in there that Sunday night when Joey Diaz went off for like an hour and just blew before he got cast on The Longest Yard and Chris Rock saw him that night?
No.
Oh, I
Joe,
don't
like
know.
everybody, I think like Carlos Mencia was here, and everybody's going, "No, Joey, keep going." All right,
Oh,
let me bring up
yes.
the next
Oh,
one.
yes,
no,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember this.
Keep
I remember
going.
this. Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
yeah.
did- I mean, I've seen people kill before, and there were
People that
comedians
happened
I-
to Brody too. The ones the keep going thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It never
and-
happened to. It only happened a few times.
There's
here, so,
levels
yeah.
of killing. There's like world-class comedian. Then there's a magical night. There's levels to it. But
Where you
then
just
that
back out,
night,
yeah.
Where I mean, I thought that like he blew the roof off the place. Like I
That was
thought
a
the
real
room was going to
thing.
just. I mean, it was rumbling with laughter. The foundation of the building was shaking.
That was a
That's
night where
incredible.
he couldn't follow himself. Like he
It
got
was-
so
Yeah.
far where he was like, I'm just out of stuff to do. I just gotta get off.
Yeah.
It
You
was
know,
probably
yeah.
the greatest moment of stand-up I've ever seen.
Joe Diaz, man.
Man,
We've
The-
seen
like
some
the best.
wild
force
shit.
of nature.
Yeah.
You know?
Holtzman, though, saying the inappropriate, like, I feel like Diaz always says inappropriate stuff, but like consistently, like Holtzman,
Yeah.
after a horrible event, will just come in.
He'll
like,
go out on the
cathartic.
wire and
It
just
was, he has to get it out. Right.
cathartic.
And so I remember the Harvey Weinstein stuff happened, and me and Adam are sitting in the back, and he was in the OR again, and it was jam packed. And we're sitting in the bucket seats. I don't remember who else was there, but I just remember Holtzman going up, and he goes on. The applause kind of stops, and he takes a breath, and he looks up, and he goes, "Men are built to rape women. Deal with it."
That was his opening line.
that's the first line. Wow.
Adam, we're like, "Oh my god, oh my god."
We're gonna get letters.
Like, we
We're
were
gonna
like,
get
just lock the doors. We're fucked. You
Yeah.
know, like, because it was at the peak. You know, it was so busy.
Now you just can't leave.
The club, the club was so busy that we were like, it's over.
Yeah.
He just took it down.
Destroyed the club. Yeah.
And half the room was screaming, and the other half was like, "What? This is ridiculous."
How
It
dare
was
you?
such a glorious mix, and then I don't know how, but he recovered from it and did his whole set.
He can
Got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, watching him dig a hole and then find a way back out of it, man.
Sometimes you never got out of that hole.
Yeah.
You got in there like Nom, and you were like, "I'll try to get us out of this hole."
For me, sometimes those are the most entertaining ones to watch when you're watching. I was talking about this with someone the other day. I was like, watching another comedian bomb is like in Lost Boys when they describe how different vampires die different ways. Like some go really loud, some just turn to dust and stuff like that. It's so entertaining to me to watch anybody that, especially if I respect them, bomb.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is in me, but I know it's in a lot of comics.
I used to love talking about magical types of performances. seeing Andrew in the original room late night
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
with a scattered audience where it's like a live version of Day the Laughter Died is
Right.
probably my favorite comedy album
It's
of all
it's
time.
at the top.
Yeah,
for
exact-
me too.
yeah.
It's a mess. It's comedy as art. It's comedy as jazz. It's just so hilarious. Mm-hmm. And I remember he was going through a phase where he would bomb on purpose to get the audience, to get himself in that hole. And I remember this is another top 5 Comedy Store memory. Early 2000s. Not many people in the, and then, he gets like smuggy type people in here sometimes, like
Right.
whatever. And the guy said something like, "Oh, this guy isn't funny." He's like, "Huh? Yeah, I'm not funny, right?" And what if I told you, I don't know, 4 minutes from now, you'd be laughing so hard that your head would be knocking off the table behind you, right? and then he just, okay, yeah, I'm an idiot, all right. And he's just building it. And 4 minutes later, the room's shaking with laughter, and then he's killing. And then he just he goes, "Asshole face, what did I tell you?" And the place just went, boom! Like it was like, there goes my hero. It was so amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. He would do that a lot though. But I know what you're talking about specifically. But at the same time, he would do that on random nights. Nobody's in there.
magic.
I saw it in the main room and I saw it in the OR. The
That
main
magic.
room was great
Yeah.
because it was Fat Tuesday.
Yep, I remember seeing him destroy.
Yeah,
Fat Tuesday.
it was Fat Tuesday, and the guy was like, "You ain't shit" or whatever. And Andrew said something along the lines of, "I could buy and sell you 10 times over." And I thought, inappropriate
Maybe
in this
not
room.
the
in this
room
room.
to- yeah.
Somehow he recovered from it
Yeah.
He could,
somehow.
He's a master.
because he didn't. Obviously, it wasn't
Right,
meant.
he wasn't
meant
just-
the
yeah.
guy was just shitting on him, like, "What are you doing
Yeah.
here? You ran out of money." You know what I mean? So it was like they were
Mm-hmm.
making it a money thing.
I
Right.
remember seeing a fight break out on between two comics. Like it escalated, and Andrew's physically breaking up a fight.
Yeah.
And then you just hear this, "Dice, you're on." And he goes, "I got to go, boys." And then just went on stage like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like there's levels, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, that's what I love so much about comedy. There's guys that it's just like, wow. It's like seeing a force of nature.
Yeah.
It's like seeing a sunset or a hurricane.
Right.
Or the Rocky Mountains. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It really is.
I remember Dom and Dice having a fight.
This was not that.
And Ari and Jeff Danish breaking it up, which is probably worse for everybody involved.
Yeah, I can't imagine
neither
those.
one. And nobody was on stage. And David Tell was at the booth, and he goes, "Guys, is it cool if I go on?" They're all at each other's throats.
Skanks for the Memories is still another one of my all-time
Tell.
top 3 comedy albums.
Same, one of my
That
absolute
thing-
favorites.
Every comic I knew owned that album, and I've never seen that before.
What? Skanks for the Memory. Yeah.
And
David
would like
Tell's another
play it for
master.
each other. They were like excited to share it with
It
each
still
other.
makes me
And
laugh.
you never see people do that. You never like. I love comics, and every comic I know loves comedy, but I've never seen them as excited to share another comedian with each
Exactly.
other as
Yeah.
with that. With
Yeah,
Skanks
yeah.
for the Memories.
He's one of the most ripped off, too.
Oh,
His
absolutely.
cadence,
Yep,
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it a lot. I'm like,
He's
oh,
a man.
wow.
There's certain guys. Wow.
Yeah, it's like it's
I loved Insomniac. Did you ever watch
Oh, the
that?
best.
of course.
So good.
Attell, I can watch if Attell is here or anywhere. Like I'll just sit and wait like a little kid. Because he's one of my top.
Yeah. I
He's
love
always
it,
been
Tal.
in the top 3.
He
no
did
matter what.
at the Improv when he wasn't drinking. People were still buying him drinks, of course.
Yeah.
And I happened to be sitting next to him, and he knew I was a comic, and he knew the guy next to him was a comic, and he just slid the drinks over to both of us.
You're
I
like,
felt like $1 million when that happened. I was like, this means absolutely nothing, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but I was still like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened.
I remember doing the University of Iowa opening up for Pauly Shore and Dave Attell, and we went out to bars afterwards, but he wasn't really drinking. I don't know. And I remember he just looked, and I was like, just in awe.
Right.
I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. And then he just said something sort of happened that I didn't know what was going on. And Attell he goes, just keep doing what you're doing. Pretend you have a gun. Like that. And I was like, what? I'm the bad boy. You're relying on me to get out of this situation?
You fucking Enzo.
Yeah, 100%. I was afraid it'd have to be like Fredo pulling it out. Don't buy the oranges.
Bubba! That's the greatest scene ever. It's the greatest scene ever. Oh my God. Every time I see that scene though in The Godfather, I think of you because you always use that as a reference. You're like, because he'll go like anytime, oh, I'm doing it. And I'm like, Fredo pulling the gun out. And I'm like, there's Simeone. Like, you took her away from
Such a great
Nobody
metaphor.
stopped me.
Nobody stopped me. Yeah. That's another one.
Classic.
Bud Dwyer. I saw that
I
real
saw that
time.
live. Me too. I was homesick from school that day.
I wasn't homesick. I was playing hooky.
Yeah.
And my brother Johnny played hooky too. And
That's
was
very on brand.
nervous.
See, I've never played hooky ever.
Right.
Shit. I was nervous to get back in the house because the cops used to pull us over back then. And you'd say, what were you doing? And you'd say, oh, it's a holiday. We're off today. Make shit up.
Yeah.
You know, especially Catholic school. They don't fucking pay attention. So I had all these lies because I knew my brother Johnny was home and he wasn't going to let me in. Because he was going to go to school. But I'm like, oh, you get to play hooky? And it was one day when he was feeling good because he had his tasty cakes. And
Nobody takes a cake as tasty as a tasty cake.
he had his good tasty cake and he let me in and we both watched it in real time. It was terrifying.
That's the special you two should do. It's like both of you from Philly, like the good boy and the bad girl, like doing a fucking
Please tell
like
that
an
story about
hour-long
the bus.
special.
When you were in Philly, when the Phillies were in the postseason and it was raining. Because Philadelphia gets such a bad
what did
rap.
I do? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, because it took me a minute to remember when it was raining.
Yeah.
Right? This was recently because I'm like, postseason, wait, the Phillies just did that. I got excited. But the city was feeling so good because of the Phillies doing so well, that underdog team that wasn't even supposed to be in the playoffs.
Nope.
Not only in the playoffs, now they're in the World Series. So it was like the middle of the World Series, and when I go to my mom's house, I hate taking public transport. I love to walk or take those new city bikes.
Yeah.
So I will always walk up Broad Street all the time to Center City. So I go to Center
It's a
City.
beautiful walk.
It's like 3 miles from my
but there's so
mom.
much
It's not
cool
bad.
stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. There's great stores in Washington now. They kind of
it's
gentrified
nice.
that area,
It's
so
right
they're
by
cleaning it up.
Shout out to St. Rita's National Shrine.
Yes, I always go by St. Rita's, and then they have a Sprouts. I'm like, ooh, you guys are bitchy.
Yep.
So, so whatever. So I always walk up, and then I was walking back, and everybody kept saying to me, it's going to rain today. It's going to rain today. But it was beautiful when I left. And it was fine. And all of a sudden it starts pouring. I mean, pouring. I couldn't get out of it. I did have like what do you call it? A rain jacket, but
Raincoat,
it wasn't
yeah.
it was like something I had when I was a lifeguard.
Oh,
So
okay.
I literally,
Like
I
a
was
poncho
dry,
almost
but
or
not
something.
really. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I go to get on the bus, and I'm like, fuck, the bus will just go right down Broad Street. And it's torrential downpour. It's crazy. And I'm digging in my pocket. I had $1. He goes, it's okay. I got you.
Yep.
He let me on the bus. That's how happy they were about the fucking Phillies.
Wow.
Like they were that
And then
nice.
didn't he say like "Go Phils"? Or
Yeah, and he
something?
goes,
Like,
and he goes, go Fightins. And I was like, and I'm drenched. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just sitting there dripping.
Greatest city.
And then I know, and then and he didn't. They go the other way down Oregon. So and I live near SEPTA, so I was like, or my mom's house is near SEPTA, so I was like, oh, I got to go this way. Are you going? And he goes, no, it's best you get out on Rittner. You're gonna have to run down because I got to turn down Oregon. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
So I was
Awesome.
pissed. I was like, damn. So I had to jump puddles. But hey, man, he got me like 5 or 6 blocks out of the rain.
It's sad that that's a great day in
And I
your
was
life.
missing 50
at that
cents.
time, yeah.
But the way he said it, it was like, go Fightins, right?
Like
And I was
everybody
like,
could be on the same page.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's one of the only cities in the world that's still like that. Like
I
you're
know,
talking
it's
about a
weird.
huge city.
Yeah.
But like you can walk. You can make a friend at a Wawa. Like
Yeah.
if
A
you're
good
wearing-
friend.
Like you're wearing an Eagles and they're, oh, go Birds. And next thing you know, you see that person again and it's like you're sharing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you see
blah,
that
blah,
game?
blah.
You
And
believe
it's-
this?
It's
Blah, blah, blah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's the coolest place ever.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's he's flashing me. I like it, John. That's our producer.
Is he rubbing his crotch like
He was
Aberbias
showing
style?
his Johnson. He loves it. Look at that smile. God, he hates me.
Adorable.
Everyone hates me, and that's fine. I'm into
Nobody
it.
hates
I don't hate you.
Kidding. I love to say that. Do you hate me?
Not anymore.
Damn it. What did I do to get you back on my side?
You
The Phillies?
stuck up for me like right when I first got here. I'm not
Wait,
kidding.
are you being serious?
I never hated you, but I'm pretty much indifferent to everybody until they do something nice.
Are you serious?
For the most part, yeah. I think
You're like the
everyone's kind
nicest
of like that.
person. No.
Yeah, but like I don't care one way or the other about people until I
Got
see
it.
them do something cool.
Okay.
If that makes sense. It's a very
pretty
small
cool.
hazing process, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the first time we met, Dice was like just picking on me like he does with everybody.
Well, you mean
and you
making
stood
you
up
fall
for
down
me
a flight of steps?
immediately. Yes, that was it. It was. You were like, he's not a stuntman. He doesn't do that.
You wanted
know?
him to fall down the belly room steps.
Yeah, I was like, get Fat James to do it. I was like, I don't.
Chips Keebler.
I was like,
would
he'll do
roll.
it. I'm not going to do it. And he was like, why won't you do this for me? He was really mad because he really somehow
you were a
got mixed up that I
stuntman?
was a stuntman. and so he was really pissed. And I was like, I'm not doing it. He was like, I'll pay you whatever you want. I was like, I don't want to
pay
go.
you whatever you
I don't want to get
I
thrown down the
know.
stairs. He's like, you can't do this for me. I was like, look, I really respect you, but I'm not
Well,
letting anybody
nobody
throw
will
me
ever
down the
see this
stairs.
footage.
Yeah.
He tried to sell it as a show. They were like, what is this?
It was so intimidating to me to
mean,
be
it was
talked to
funny,
having
but-
to say no to him.
Yeah.
And then you came in and kind of were like, that's enough. Leave him alone. Let someone else
You
do it.
gotta-
Yeah.
We're not throwing him down the steps. As it is, the Comedy Store doesn't have insurance.
Right. Yeah.
You've changed all the lighting in here. People are falling left and right. Remember, he was like,
I was
I
so
need this.
radically out of shape that I was getting muscle cramps in my neck just from being alive, not from doing anything
My
cremedy, just
God.
from life, you know?
Holy
So I was like,
shit.
I can't be thrown down the stairs. I'll die for sure.
Do you remember Ari's skateboard trick? Where he
Of course. Ari would make him do it. I mean, Andrew made him do it 4,000 times in that kitchen.
best.
Coming through the swing doors.
When he didn't he like toss Bobby Lee into a bunch of boxes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm
Holtzman used to do the box thing.
Oh, remember that. That would make Jeff Scott laugh so
so
hard.
hard.
If Jeff Scott would be like when he saw a pile of boxes and
God
Holtzman
rest
would
his
come in,
soul.
the boxes, and Holtzman would go, oh, I see the boxes. And he'd jump on the boxes. It was, God rest his soul,
I
right?
remember
Yeah.
one night. It was a hot summer night. It's like 2:00 in the morning.
I love hot summer
It
nights.
was,
It was
a hot
great.
summer night.
And we're all hanging out in the back, and somebody said something about like being poor or something like that. And Andrew had like this very sweet, profound moment of wisdom with us.
Uh-oh.
And he was like, don't you get it? Right now, this is as good as it gets. He was like, it's a school night. Most of your friends are back home.
Get ready for work in the morning.
Get
you know?
ready for work. They have bills they can't pay. They hate their job. He goes, we're hanging out like we're 12 years old
Yeah.
on a Tuesday night. And he was like, look, this business there's more pressure with every level. He's like, this is the most fun you're ever going to have in this business. If you're not having fun now, get out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And then I remember like shortly thereafter, Ari and I, we did La Jolla, which was like the
blast.
summer vacation
Oh,
for
the
door
best.
guys.
Yeah.
Because you could, if you could use the condo and do 2 spots in San Diego, and they were 7 minutes and, not
you're on
3
the
minutes.
beach?
And you're on the
What?
beach, right? And then we're driving home from La Jolla, and I'm like, this is the best. Do I get? And Ari just looks at me and he goes, you want to go see a movie? I'm like, on a school day? in the middle of the afternoon? And I go, I would love to, but I don't have any money. And Ari's like, I got you. And Ari paid
Wow.
for us to go to, we just pulled off we're like, oh, there's a mall, there's a movie theater. And what do you want to go see? When we went and saw a movie in the middle of the day. And I'm like, Andrew was 100% right. This is the best life ever.
What movie did you see?
We saw A Beautiful Mind.
Oh,
And at the end of the movie, Ari was crying, and he was so mad
I'm
that he was
done.
crying. He took his popcorn and he threw it to the ground. They manipulate you on purpose. The absolute best.
My story with Ari at the movies was I took him to see The Matrix Reloaded.
Cool.
And back then it wasn't as an established thing as it is now to stay after the credits.
Yeah.
But every nerd in that room knew the deal that there was going to be a preview for the next Matrix
Yes.
at the end. And so the movie ends, credits start rolling. Ari gets up and he's like gathering his trash. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm sit down. You're embarrassing me. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, sit down. My friend's from out of town, fellow nerds. He doesn't know what's happening. People were like, had their inhalers and they were like, what's the meaning of this? What does this man do?
Why would he leave?
Yeah, and he was so like embarrassed afterwards. It was so fun. I just love.
We don't wait for the credits. We leave.
Yeah,
Why
he's
would
like,
you wait for the credits?
Why are we all still here? And I had to explain to him, and he was like, they're going to see that anyway. He was like, it'll be on the internet. So I was like, you just don't understand.
Why do they have to stay? I don't know.
We just have to. Because we have to be the first to see any new footage that happens.
It's like an Easter egg.
All the
kinda.
Marvel movies have that now.
Oh, okay.
Where,
I never
there's a thing
watched
after
any
the
of them.
credits. It's if you don't see it immediately, another nerd will tell you about it and ruin it.
You should have hung out,
Got it.
man.
Right.
You weren't there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a nerd.
It's like if someone had told you all the jokes and skanks for the memories,
Right.
rather than saying, hey, borrow
Watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I never went to the movies with Ari, but I did go to lunch with him once over at the Standard, and then he told everybody we were on a date. And I wasn't on a date. I got bit by a dog because of him, and it was an awful lunch. So I'm glad he cried at Beautiful Mind. I hope they manipulate him, and I wish the nerds would have beat him up.
Well, they
Fuck you,
didn't
Ari.
have the
By the
strength.
way, how great.
Really?
Yeah.
For Ari?
Real talk, how great was Ari's last special?
Jew is great.
Yeah.
I think they should show it in schools.
I think it's one of the greatest pieces of stand-up ever.
I keep telling people like Colin Quinn's been doing these like one-man show kind of thing, and they're fucking incredible. Like they should be showing them in schools. And Ari's same thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah. Awesome.
hilarious. It's informative. It's
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's topical.
It's topical, but it's also, it's just like people don't have the balls to ask questions or know anything. And Ari's putting it out there in a jokey way.
Yeah.
And he's
Brilliant.
But it's really
but he's
illuminating,
really
too. Yeah.
making sure everything's accurate. He cut things out that weren't accurate.
Dude, I remember when Ari went to New York, I was like,
I'm not praising him anymore.
I am. I remember when he went to New York and I was like, I didn't think it was a good move for his career, but also it was probably because I was sad because my buddy was leaving.
Of course.
Right.
I
I'm
think
like,
that's
you shouldn't go, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, stay here. We're going to be millionaires. But, you know, like
It's what I did with everyone during the pandemic. I was like, bye, everybody. You know,
it's the worst.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
that's life.
I'm still
But
here.
then I remember seeing him. This was a couple years after he had gone, and I went into. I was like, "Oh, Ari's doing a set," and I remember he used to specifically want to work out later, so he could actually use the OR
workout.
Yeah.
and
For a
actually
real
work
workout.
stuff out. He's one of the best stand-up comedians in the world.
Well, now I know you're crazy, but I like what you're saying.
Completely. I remember going, dude, that was one of the best sets I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was just, and a lot of it was the stuff that eventually became
In the
the
yeah.
special.
Yeah.
I'll just never not pick on him for him telling people we
that's-
were on a date.
Hysterical.
So wait, how did the dog bite you on the date? How did that factor into it?
Some dumb LA dumb bitch had her dog and was letting it run around the tables, and Ari was like push my plate toward the dog, and then I pushed it away, and the dog got mad and bit me because I was like, I don't
Right.
want the dog to eat the.
They get
I don't
set
know.
off for no good reason.
And
Yeah.
it was a little yappy thing, and it fucking bit me, and
Did it break the skin?
a little, but I punted the dog. No, I'm kidding. I punted the lady because I would never. It's not the dog's fault. It's the fucking owner's fault. She's letting it roam.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the asshole. And
Yeah.
I was like, hey, bitch, get your dog.
Yeah, you can't. Like a lot of people have that instinct of like have it killed or whatever.
But
and
I
it's like,
kind of
it's
was
not the
more
dog.
embarrassed. Yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of was more embarrassed that it happened, and just
Did
was
Richie
like,
give you dog biting
I was
advice?
going to say.
Richie was
He
not.
gave me the best. He was
Here.
like, you clench up your elbow, right? And then its teeth will get locked in, and then you just keep hitting it. And I was like,
That's for a pit bull.
food
Is
for
he-
thought. Thank you.
What the fuck?
Now I know. You know.
I
That's what
remember
we're
once
gonna-
pulling up to the Comedy Store, like, what did I miss? And I see Fat James throwing somebody over the wall and Richie knocking somebody out. And it was like, I was like, what is going on here? Then I see Richie.
You just can't
there's
come
a
in
guy
here.
with, like a shiner on the side. And then he takes the guy's, like, they had to throw his girlfriend out. She's crying on the parking lot. And the guy's got a fresh shiner that's just getting bigger. Then I see Richie go, you forgot your purse. Hits the guy in the head with his purse. It's like a hairbrush and ID scattered all over the sidewalk.
Back when we weren't corporate, the good old days. The fun days, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Those are the
chaos.
fucking glory days. They're behind us. Now we got to be under this silly
Remember
umbrella.
seeing Don Richardson fight 15 guys one time?
Yes.
While eating a
Yeah.
pint of ice cream, probably.
Dude, I just remember all the literal
Shredded.
gang.
Eating-
Just shredded.
eating fucking
jumped
ice
on him.
Nothing but junk
And
food.
I'm like, what's going on? And then I just see the Incredible Hulk movie. He kicked 5 guys off of it, and then he kicked his shoes
In
off.
the most polite way, by
Then
the
he
way.
kicked his shoes off, and it was like a Seagal movie, right?
Yeah, he was
He was one of those guys he was so nice
So nice.
that you didn't
So
realize
sweet.
what a powerhouse he was until
Yeah.
some shit went down and
Oh
he
my
was the
gosh.
first one to spring into
Oh
action.
my gosh! Like it was like I'm like karate
Yeah.
works. Like, I'd never seen it work before. Like he was dropping people. It was honestly like watching blood sport. I was like Naksu cow. Matt was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, he's fucking powerhouse, Don.
Yeah.
I miss him. I haven't seen him in
Yeah.
a while. Yeah. And he was from Minneapolis or something. And I was like,
Yep.
really?
Yeah.
Like he just didn't, but he was such a nice.
Yeah, it makes a
Yeah.
delicious pizza.
He makes a delicious pizza?
Delicious.
All right,
Really?
that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, he does love food. He was
does love
always he was always eating like ice cream or pizza, and you're like,
Yeah.
how do you have abs, you fucker?
Yep.
It's like you have to be working out every minute you're not here.
Every day,
you know?
every second
Yeah.
of the day, and then you come here and you're like, this is my one meal that I
Right.
eat all day.
Just waiting to tune people up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love talking to you guys, but we have to wrap it
Yeah.
out. Wait, where are you going to be this weekend? Is this coming
Dem-
out this weekend? Okay.
Denver Comedy Works.
Ooh,
The South Club.
nice.
Yeah, so Wednesday,
It's still
Thursday,
Wendy,
Friday.
right?
Yeah, she's the best.
Sweetest.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love her.
Great. And where are you going to be?
I'll be here.
Here at the world famous Comedy Store.
Probably. Yeah, most
Very
likely.
exciting. Well,
It is.
Thank both of you for being here. Steve was being
Yeah.
my co-host because Rick is still on the road with Chris Rock, killing
That
it.
makes me so happy.
He's with
Yeah.
Chris and Dave.
I know.
actually.
I watch his pictures on Instagram.
Yeah, every once in a while they'll put an
Rick just
Instagram
looks
up.
lo-
And it's like, yeah.
It's the greatest.
Yeah, we torture him for his pictures, but it's great. I mean, I'm excited for him. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And
Huge.
I'm excited for him as a friend, but I'm also excited for comedy and comedy fans.
Right.
Like he's
yeah.
been murdering.
So many people call me and they're like, we went to see Chappelle Rock and Rick stood out. And I'm like,
Dude,
fuck.
he's been murdering
Yeah.
for 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And he's with Donnell Rawlings, who's also a murderer.
Murderers.
So it's what a hell of a show, the four
Yeah.
of them.
That's stuff people remember their whole life.
Yeah, Elon Musk was there the other night.
Those Paul McCartney, Sir Paul McCartney.
Him
Yeah.
hugging Rick,
Yeah, and
grabbing
Rick's
Rick. Rick had me dying with the
Dude,
stories.
it's the best.
So fucking funny. Paul McCartney.
That's nuts.
Well,
I mean, I'm just imagining Paul like wanting to hang out with her. Send it to voicemail. So great. Everything about that's so great.
Paul, you're on British time. It's a little
I don't
early.
really. I hate the British. I could hear Rick. England's trash, and because that's one thing we agree on. And me and Rick, I mean, but he
funny.
went to England and he shits on it heavily. Like I shit on it, but Rick had been there and has specifics. I'm like, oh shit. So anyway, so if you're Rick, go see Rick
He's
with
the
Dave
best.
Chappelle and Chris Rock, and then. Where am I? I'm going to be at the Stand, but this isn't coming out. This will be out
Going to New
already.
York?
Yeah, me and Andrew are doing the Stand on Friday.
Oh, that's awesome.
It comes out on Friday. So Friday night, whatever. So 8:00 at the Stand. And then I'm doing Sony Hall with Joe Diaz on December 28th.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, we just did Parks. So it was actually
how great was
so
that?
much fun. So much fun.
Awesome.
And then, thank you guys for listening. Come to the Comedy Store, subscribe, do all that shit. All right, thanks. Bye.